Remember those kind of rough-looking AI videos from a few years back? Well, get ready to have your mind blown because Meta's Movie Gen is here, and it is completely changing how we think about video creation.
Yeah, it's a real game changer. We're moving past the days of just still images and those, basic animations. Movie Gen tackles both video and audio, which opens up a whole world of possibilities. It's pretty remarkable.
Okay, so let's unpack that. What can Movie Gen actually do that's so revolutionary?
Imagine like just typing in a blue emu swims through the ocean and then boom, having AI generate a full HD realistic video of it, sound effects and all. That's Movie Gen in a nutshell. And
Not,
we're talking up to 16-second videos, different aspect ratios, all in stunning 1080p.
hold on, a blue emu swimming in the ocean. It actually looks good, not like those, kind of janky AI videos we all
Yeah.
see.
You got it. That's the real difference here. This isn't about clunky animations anymore. The research paper actually highlights how Movie Gen is on a whole other level compared to what's out there. Even those commercial AI video tools like, what are they? Runway Gen 3, Luma Labs, even OpenAI's Sora, the quality, the realism, the way things move, it's all significantly better.
Okay, you've definitely got my attention. But how does it even work? What's the secret sauce behind this magic?
Well, at its core, MovieGen is powered by two main AI models. Think of it like this. It's like having a whole visual effects team and a sound studio, all in
Yeah,
one.
the dynamic duo. Tell me more.
So the first one is MovieGen Video. This one's a powerhouse 30 billion parameters. This model is all about taking your text, your descriptions, and turning them into actual visuals. And it learned how to do that by analyzing a massive, and I mean massive, data set of video footage.
So it basically binge watched every video imaginable to learn how to make its own.
Essentially, yeah. And through all that, it figured out how to show objects, movement, even like the physics of how things should look in motion. And it does all that with incredible realism.
That's wild. But what about the sound? I mean, you can't have a movie without a good soundtrack.
Right. And that's where Movie Generator steps in. This one's 13 billion parameters and handles everything audio. It's actually fascinating because it understands how sound and visuals work together. So it creates everything from, that ambient background noise to like dramatic scores that perfectly match what's happening on screen.
Wow, so we've got these two AI maestros working together to create these videos, but they didn't just appear out of thin air, did they? How do these models get so good at what they do?
Well, it all starts with the data they use to train these models. We're talking millions of videos, countless hours of audio. I mean, it's a truly mind-boggling amount of information. But here's the thing, they weren't just throwing any old video at MovieGen. They were really picky about the quality of the data, which is interesting.
So no shaky cat videos making the cut.
Nope, not even close. They actually used like special algorithms to get rid of videos that were low resolution or that just weren't visually appealing. Stuff with shaky camera work. They even filtered out videos with unrealistic movements, so they really wanted to make sure that MovieGen was learning from the best of the best.
Wow, talk about serious quality control.
Oh, absolutely. And get this, they didn't stop there. They used another AI called Llama 3 Video to describe everything that was happening in those training videos. Think of it like a super-powered caption writer, but with like incredible accuracy. That way, MovieGen would really understand how those visuals connected to the action.
So it's like they had a whole team
Yeah.
of expert video analysts basically feeding information to MovieGen.
Exactly. And hold on, there's more. They then organize all that data in a very specific way by things like video length and aspect ratio. It's a process they call, get this, bucketization. Sounds a little technical,
Just a bit.
but it's actually why MovieGen can create videos in all those different formats.
Pretty cool, right? It's impressive. But you know what's really blown my mind about all of this? It's the fact that MovieGen can create videos with specific people in them. Like, am I understanding this right? I could star in my own AI-generated movie.
You got it. That's one of the most mind-blowing things about MovieGen. It can create these personalized videos, so you provide like a reference image of someone, and then MovieGen analyzes it, learns their unique features, and then get that as generates videos featuring that person, and it does all that while still maintaining their likeness.
I don't know, that's amazing, but also kind of creepy. But how do they keep it from looking like a weird copy and paste job?
Yeah.
Where the person is just stuck in the same pose as the image they provided.
Yeah, that's a good question. That was definitely a challenge, and they had to get creative. So what they did is they used something called paired and cross-paired data when they were training MovieGen. So basically, Movie Gen wasn't just looking at static pictures. It was learning from videos of people moving around, talking, showing different expressions, just acting naturally.
So it understands how a real person moves, not just how to, like, paste a face on something.
Exactly. And because of that, those personalized videos end up looking way more natural and believable.
That's really incredible. Speaking of incredible, what about the video editing features? You mentioned that MovieGen can actually edit existing footage. How does that work?
It can. And this is where it gets really interesting. MovieGen has this editing component called Naturally MovieGen Edit. And it lets you edit both real videos and those AI-generated videos. And get this, you edit them just by using text instructions. So say you want to add something to a scene, you just describe it. If you want to remove something, you just tell it to go. It's pretty wild. But, teaching an AI how to edit videos like that, well, that presented its own set of challenges.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's not like there's this huge database out there of perfectly labeled, edited videos just waiting for MovieGen to learn from.
You're telling me. So they had to, get a little creative. What they ended up doing is developing a three-stage process. And it all started with what they call single frame editing. It's a mouthful. Basically, they started by training the model on image editing first. They were treating each frame of the video as if it were just a separate image. Then, to make sure everything looked good, they combined this with their normal video generation training so that things stayed consistent and the quality stayed high.
So it started with the basics,
Yeah.
like teaching it to edit frame by frame before they jumped into the more complex stuff.
Precisely. But editing a whole video is about a lot more than just, tweaking individual frames. They
Mhm.
needed to find a way to address things like, blurriness that you sometimes get or those jump cuts that can happen when you're editing longer sequences. So that's where they brought in what they call multi-frame editing.
Makes sense, but how do you even start to teach an AI something that complex?
Well, to do that, they built something called synthetic data sets.
Synthetic data sets. Okay, yeah, you're gonna have to break that one down for me.
Yeah, so it's basically like creating, artificial training data. Imagine you take like a single edited frame and then you apply all these different random movements to it, almost like you're animating the edit itself. And then they also trained MovieGen to do things like, isolate certain objects in a video or change their color, that kind of thing. And all that helps it learn how to manipulate different elements within a scene.
So they're basically training its editing skills by giving it all these, like, cleverly designed tasks and just letting it learn from the results.
Exactly. But even with all that clever training, they still had some hurdles to overcome. Like sometimes when they edited longer sequences, the movement would look a little unnatural. So to address that, they came up with this really, really ingenious technique. They call it back translation.
Back translation. Okay, now I know we're getting into the seriously advanced stuff here.
I know, right? It sounds super complicated, but it's actually pretty elegant when you get down to it. So picture this. You give MovieGen a text instruction to make a specific edit to a video, right? Once it's made that edit, they then use AI, but this time to generate the reverse instruction, like the exact instruction that would undo that edit perfectly. And by training on these pairs, these instruction result pairs, MovieGen starts to learn editing, but in a much more nuanced way.
So it's almost like if you were teaching someone how to edit a video, you'd show them how to rewind and undo what they just did if they made a mistake.
That's a perfect way to put it. And you know what? To really push those editing abilities to the limit, they created a whole new benchmark too. They call it, get this, MovieGen Edit Bench.
Of course they did.
Right. And this new benchmark actually uses more realistic videos, more complex videos, than anything they had before. So it lets them actually measure how accurate MovieGen's editing is, but in a really, really rigorous way.
It's pretty incredible all the innovation happening behind the scenes to make this happen. But I think it's time we brought this back to the big picture for a second. We've got this AI that can make these incredibly realistic videos from scratch. It can personalize those videos, and it can even edit them with crazy precision all based on just our instructions. What does this even mean for the average person?
I think it's a huge, huge shift. Just think about the creative possibilities. I mean, now filmmakers, artists, even just everyday people can actually bring their ideas to life, even their wildest ideas, without needing like a Hollywood budget or a team of professional editors. It's like having a whole production studio at your fingertips.
Yeah, it's really democratizing video creation in a way that we haven't really seen before.
Exactly. And it goes way beyond just like traditional filmmaking too. Imagine like having personalized educational videos that are specifically tailored to your learning style. Or what about interactive stories where you can change what happens just by like giving the AI a simple instruction. You could even have these super realistic simulations, but for training purposes, and all of it generated on demand. It's pretty wild when you think about it.
It really is. It makes you wonder, what will we create with this technology? It's exciting, but also maybe a little bit of a daunting thought to end on. What do you think?
I think, like any tool, it has incredible potential for good.
Yeah.
And like any tool, how we choose to use it will determine its ultimate impact. But the possibilities, I think it's safe to say, are pretty much limitless.